Well, hello, Casita fans. This is Marvin Huddleston, your rambling observer. Now, I'm coming to you from the Mesquite High School in Mesquite, Texas. I am on lunch break right now. I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking on this video about insuring your casita. Before I do that, let me tell you, this coming Sunday night, do not miss the total lunar eclipse that will be occurring Sunday night and Monday morning. If you go to Google, you should be able to pretty easily find the information about the total eclipse for your area. You need to be aware of the fact that the times get a little confusing from astronomy time that we use to what you're used to. So be sure you know your time zone and look for information for that time zone that'll tell you the times of all the events. The penumbral part of the eclipse is basically you'll see a slight shadowing, not really shadowing, but darkening of the moon, and then the total eclipse part comes in when you start seeing a bite come out of the moon. Sometimes these eclipses can be very, very red. Sometimes they can be other colors. Sometimes they can be very, very dark. And I've seen a total lunar eclipse before where you couldn't hardly even see it. You had to really search for it with my binoculars to go, oh, there it is, there's the moon. It was that dark. It was quite incredible, and that was in a dark sky. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about insuring your casita. My wife and I, Robin, are both brand new to this whole RVing thing. We have wanted a casita ever since they were first made. About 1982, 1983, we were introduced to them, and we have wanted one ever since. So this is a fulfillment of a dream, and I'll talk more about that in future videos. But right now, the subject matter that's come up at this point is insurance. Let me say we're going down on the 25th of January and doing our walkthrough of our casita. I've already been in it once. We will do our walkthrough and get introduced to all the different things, and more than likely we will have it delivered on February the 1st. And the reason for that is, and the wait there of a week, is that we do not have a tow vehicle still at this point in time. That's still in the future, so it may have to be delivered. If we cannot pick it up on the 25th, I have arranged to have them have it delivered on the 1st. And I'm going to take off that day, so I'll be home for that. Anyway, what I've learned in trying to find out and trying to research the subject of insuring this small casita trailer, I've been a little puzzled because I will post about quotes that I have received. And invariably, I'll have people come on there and say, well, I've got mine for $100 a year, and that's all we pay. Or others have said it's like a rider off of their vehicle insurance and those sorts of things, and saying, oh, you're being quoted too much money. Well, let me tell you, my current quote is from Foremost, and more than likely that is what we are going to go with. I'm going to be paying down around $125 to start that insurance on the day that we pay the bill, probably the 25th, we'll start that insurance. It will be $70 a month. Now, some people have said that's absolutely outrageous, so I got a little antsy thinking, are we getting a good deal here? Are we going to be paying way too much for our casita insurance? So I started researching this question. People are saying, oh, I've got $100 a year, I've got $150 a year, et cetera, et cetera. Insurance is kind of complicated. First of all, don't get antsy if you start reading about people getting these really cheap deals on insurance and you can't find that. Let me tell you why and what I've found out so far. First of all, we are going to be insuring a brand new Casita Spirit Deluxe, fully loaded. Pretty much all the options you could have are in our package. So we're talking about around $23,000 asset. One of the things as I start probing people about the cheap deals they're finding on their insurance is is that they a lot of times are talking apples to oranges. If you're buying a brand new vehicle, just like a car, you are not going to get the insurance that will be the same as insurance that you might have on for example, a Casita that is a mere 10 years old. Your insurance is going to be a lot more than someone insuring a much more expensive vehicle. This may be a very short presentation. I may have to continue it. I just realized the little bell that just went off. They're fixing to start doing announcements here at the school, and I don't know how to pause this. It hadn't worked so far. I'm just using the camera on my phone. So anyway, hopefully, I'm hoping they won't start that. I got a real feeling that's going to happen. But I'll go ahead and post this for what I've already said is a little bit valuable for you, hopefully. But anyway, on the insurance question, you cannot really compare unless you see someone's policy side by side with yours. You can't really get a comparison. My sister is in the insurance business, and I asked her this question about why these people are getting such cheap insurance. She looked at my quote and everything. She told me I'm doing exactly what needs to be done. She made the comment that most people who are getting these great deals and have real cheap insurance have no idea what they're getting in their insurance. They just have insurance. They feel this degree of confidence that they're covered because they're paying $120 a year for their insurance. You know, her point is they don't have a clue what they really have in their insurance. You really have to look into this carefully. Think about what's going to happen if you get rear-ended by somebody texting and they ram 40 miles an hour over the speed limit into the back end of your Casita and destroy it. You're going to be very surprised, more than likely, at the payoff you're going to get from that insurance company. You need to make sure that your Casita is insured. If you're talking about a new Casita, you need to make sure that your Casita is insured for real life cash value replacement insurance. A lot of insurances are not talking about replacing the actual value of your Casita. And if you're looking at a $23,000 Casita, you're not going to get insurance for $100 a month. I'm sorry, you're just not going to do it. That covers you in the case of an accident. What if your Casita comes off the hitch and rolls down the highway onto the opposite side of the freeway and hits a vehicle or an 18-wheeler or whatever head on? You better be insured for that. Not only, for one thing, the liability. You need to make sure what you really have in your insurance and be confident that what you have is what you really need. Some of the comments that I had in some discussions I was on was that here's a guy who has $400 a year from State Farm, combined with his 2 autos. That sounds reasonable, by the way. That's not. I don't think that would be too bad. I got a feeling he probably knows what he's doing. Someone here has $49 for 6 months with a $1,000 deductible, and that's with USAA. There is no way in the world you have your Casita adequately covered for $49 a year. $49 for a year for 6 months. That would be that'd be $98 a year. No way. There's no way. He may be paying that for his insurance, but he is underinsured, I guarantee you. Unless he's got a 1983 that's in bad shape. An insurance company's not going to pay off $23,000 on a brand new unit, even if it's 2 years old, for that kind of money. They can't afford to do that. Use some common sense. Think about this before you go, oh yeah, I've got this real cheap insurance. This is such a great deal. You're paying too much for your insurance. You have to know what model they have, what year compared to yours. You have to have some kind of an idea of the apples to apples comparison, not apples to oranges comparison. So be sure as you think about insurance for your Casita that you understand, first of all, what you're being quoted by your agent. Be sure that you understand the difference between your quote and other people's quotes or what they're actually paying. Make sure you understand your deductibles. Make sure that you understand, you need to really read all the fine print. Do not fall into the situation where you're complacent about, oh, I'm just covered, I'm good, and then find out if you have a catastrophic loss that all of a sudden you've lost this investment and you're going to have to buy a brand new Casita because you're underinsured. What about your tow vehicle? You need to make sure your tow vehicle is insured. Yes, it may have some carryover coverage. Usually what that's going to be, carryover coverage from your vehicle to a trailer that you're pulling, is probably going to be some type of liability. If your Casita comes off and hits somebody head on and somebody dies in the car, or just people are injured, or just a car's destroyed, or there's a million different things that you can be sued for or held legally accountable for under just the liability clause of your policy. Yes, your car vehicle insurance may insure some things having to do with your trailer, but it will not be the same. There's no insurance company in the world that is going to insure a $23,000 brand new Casita and a tow vehicle that's worth $40,000 and do the insurance on the tow on the trailer for free. Think about it. That's just common sense. They're not going to do that. If you think you've got that kind of policy, please, please, please listen. Make sure you understand what you really have. You need to have a long conversation with your insurance company or your agent to find out what you are really being insured for. It is very, 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 very important that you do that. So, let's see if we've got time to look at a couple more of these comments. Okay, one person says, I have a friend who did not get insurance on his 2017 Casita. He ended up having an accident and it was totaled. He just got a 2018 Casita that is fully insured. By the way, he was unable to sell the totaled Casita with a heavy body damage for $9,000. Oh no, he was able. I'm sorry, he wasn't. He was able to sell that damaged Casita. See, someone else here. All insurance companies offer replacement value policies, but what you think is the replacement value and what they think is the replacement value may be quite different. That's very, very true. That was by a gentleman named Nolan. Nolan, you know what's going on, obviously. One person says $129 from Progressive, but I have everything insured with, I can't remember, I think it just stops there. That may be true, but I sure would be reading some fine print. Let's see here. Someone said here we finally went with Progressive, $368 annually. Someone said you might want to raise your deductible to $500 or $1,000. You'd be surprised how much your rates would drop. That is very true. Again, make sure you've got that $1,000 in savings though. That $1,000 is going to be paid if you have a $1,000 deductible. And someone's going to have to brunt that. Just basically what that's called self-insuring. If you're Donald Trump or someone like Donald Trump, a billionaire, and you've got plenty of money in the bank, you've got hundreds of millions of dollars in a bank account, you're not going to have to worry about these in a lot of cases. You're not going to be that worried about these insurance policies on this type of stuff. You do what's called self-insurance, and there's a way that works. You have to be able to demonstrate to the state or whatever government entity you're under. You have to be able to demonstrate to that entity that you are responsible for any action that happens as a result of what you're being insured for. In other words, if I've got $1 million in the bank and I'm paying $1,000 worth of insurance a year, I don't necessarily need insurance for that $1,000. I don't have to worry about that. I've got $1 million in the bank, so I can file with the government and say, hey, I'm self-insured, and yes, you can do that. And that would be legal, but it has to be done through proper channels, and you have to have proof of that, just like you have to have proof of insurance. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. Go out Sunday night and see that eclipse. It's going to be absolutely awesome. I promise you, you will not regret it. I will not be outside during the whole eclipse. It's going to be, I think, in the 20s. I am a fair weather observer. My body does not like cold weather. I have trouble with this like you would not believe. I have fibromyalgia, neuropathy, and a bunch of other junk going on. And my body has problems with temperature swings and weather swings in general. But go out and see this eclipse. It's going to be absolutely spectacular. I hope that your skies are clear. So look up. Turn your lights off, folks. Please, please, please. One of the things we astronomers like to tell everybody is please, please, please find a way to reduce the amount of light pollution that you are producing. I've seen people that put all these really nifty, and they look really nice on their casitas. The lights coming out of the circle, the area, the seam around the middle of your casita. People will put lights in there, and it shines down. It's really kind of pretty. Please don't do that with red light. Please don't do that with white light. If you're going to do that, use something like red or blue. And be aware when you're camping of your neighbors. If you see your neighbor is outside with binoculars looking at the sky, or they've got a telescope or something set up, please keep those white lights turned off. Thank you for places like my wife and I are planning to go in March for our first maiden run with our Spirit Deluxe. We're going to go to Copper Breaks State Park in Texas. And Copper Breaks is a park that restricts the use of light because they are very astronomy conscious. There's a name for what they are, and it just escaped me all of a sudden, but senior moment. But they are one of the dark sky sites that you can go to, and it really promotes the enjoyment of astronomy. You cannot sit outside your casita laying back on a lawn chair with your outside white light right behind you, or looking right into it, and see much of anything in the night sky. You see stars and think, oh, that's really pretty. Turn that light off. Give it about an hour of dark adaptation for your eyes, and then you will see a difference. It will be absolutely spectacular and shocking, the difference you will understand. Your eye has to adjust to the dimmer light. You become accustomed to the dimmer light. That's called night adaptation. And your eye pupils, God has created our eyes to do some absolutely marvelous things. It is absolutely a miracle how your eye works. My wife is in that business, Robin. She works for a company that is in the optical industry, and it's absolutely fascinating to find out what you can learn about the eye. But in the realm of astronomy, the pupils of your eye have to dilate to a certain percentage, and then when you get that dark adaptation, the night sky just explodes with beauty. So turn those outside lights off on your casita. Get on your lawn chair and lay back and enjoy the night sky when you go camping. It will be an experience you and your children will never forget. And if you're wanting to know how can I get into astronomy, when I go out in my casita, do I have to go out and buy a $10,000 telescope? No, you do not. You don't even have to buy a $1,000 telescope. You can lay back with just your eyes and enjoy the night sky. That's how astronomy started. There weren't any telescopes when the Greeks and these people, different people in the past, saw the night sky for the first time and came up with all this mythology that we know through the zodiac and all of that. That was all done by people with no type of optical instrument to use. The other thing I recommend, people will say, hey, what telescope should I buy, Marvin, for my child? I will say, buy him a good pair of binoculars. For the most part, I am diabetic, by the way. I have to keep my mouth hydrated. I apologize for doing this. It starts to get dry. And anyway, as I was saying, one of the best astronomical instruments that everybody can afford, just about, is a good pair of binoculars. Like a 8x50. I use a set of binoculars that are 25 by 100. I have several. I have an 8x50. I have 11 by 80 that I use, which is a great old pair of binoculars I've had for a long time, that I've seen multiple comets in. But the night sky is absolutely fascinating. And when you go out on your adventures in your casita, take your children and take them outside and introduce them to the night sky. In the schools like I'm sitting in right now, I'm amazed when I go into an astronomy class and I ask the students in that astronomy class, how many of you have ever seen the Milky Way? Then they'll say, the Milky what? These are kids in an astronomy class who have never seen the Milky Way, and in some cases don't even know what it is. I was really shocked to find students in an astronomy class that didn't know what the Milky Way is. It's your galaxy. And if you want to see basically what your galaxy would look like in a telescope or a pair of binoculars, if you lived off in the distant reaches of the universe, or if you were in our local galaxy, the Andromeda Galaxy, looking back at us, basically you would see what we see when I turn a good pair of binoculars on the Andromeda Galaxy. Absolutely fantastic. One of the neat things this time of year you can look at is the Orion Nebula. It's absolutely a beautiful sight. So don't miss such sights in the night sky. I just absolutely am fascinated and always have been with astronomy. And I hope that one of the things that I will be used for will be to help educate folks around me when I'm doing astronomy in these camps and RV parks and different things. I am a person who really enjoys sharing the night sky and educating the public in astronomy. So that's it for this episode. I will be doing a few more episodes very soon, probably this week. I've got a couple of things. I may do a longer piece on the total lunar eclipse. And so watch for those. Please subscribe to my channel and help me get this thing launched. Well, this is going to be my, I think, 4th published. I've done three videos beside this one that I was not satisfied with. I did too much of this, and 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 fidgeting and stuff. And I realized looking at those videos thinking, oh my gosh, I've got a bad habit I've got to break. I'm used to teaching, but I'm not used to looking at myself having a camera pointed back at myself like I am with my little Galaxy, whatever this is. I'm Galaxy 8 Plus or whatever they call it that I'm using. I'm using just a camera there. Eventually, I will be getting software and apps, and I've got a better camera I will be using because I am a photographer. I'm going to be using that camera to make better videos, hopefully. I'm going to be getting, hopefully I'll get a drone someday and be able to add some drone footage and that sort of thing. And as I progress in doing astronomical photography, astrophotography we call it, I will be putting some of those images on my videos as I do those. So anyway, I'm glad you were here today. I hope that you have a great weekend. Do not miss that eclipse. Enjoy that eclipse and take your family outside to look at it. And when your toes become totally frozen, that you know it's time to go in and warm up and then go back outside. So that's what I'm going to be doing. God bless, and I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend.